Oh, I see it. It's recording.
Yep. Hello, everybody. We're back with Catching Up with Coach with Demetrica Ty Ruiz. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Let the people know.
Okay. Hey, yep. I am Demetrica Sad Ruiz. Friends call me Meech. So a little bit about myself. I am a product of the projects, a product of public assistance, a product of public schools. Attended college, then got my master's, worked for a little bit, and then I went on to obtain my law degree. So obtaining my law degree was not anything that I didn't know I was going to do. Like, that's something that I always wanted to do. It was just when I was going to do it. So I did that, and I've been practicing law now for 19 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I've been in different capacities. I've worked at a nonprofit in a non-legal capacity, but while there, I served as economic development director. I oversaw projects that dealt with recreation, education, affordable housing, community development, and then in my legal capacity, I've served as public defender. I have served as assistant prosecutor and prosecutor. All of this is all at the municipal level. And now I currently serve as a municipal court judge.
Oh, that's awesome. Trailblazer for this area.
To God be the glory.
Amen to that. So that leads us to our second question. How do we keep the momentum going so that way we don't have so many first Black and first women? Because I know Joellen Jones, she mentioned that the other day. How can we keep the momentum going so it's not always a first?
Yeah, I see it as lack of opportunities, right? So because I was the first, that does not mean, and I know I was not the first qualified candidate. I know I wasn't. I know there have been many women ahead of me, minority or otherwise, but let's stick to minority because I happen to be the first African American female judge in Violin. So there have been many that came before me that just didn't have the opportunity. So I think it first starts with the opportunity, like someone who is in a position of power, authority, decision-making, to crack the door, right? You don't have to open the door, but just crack the door. So everyone has the same opportunity, including people of color, to step into that door.
Exactly.
Right. So it's very important for people of color who are in positions that I mentioned of power, authority, decision-making, that they absolutely lift as they climb. Like, it's our responsibility to do that for one another.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. How do you think about the philosophy that I have, that I don't think that we as Blacks have the same opportunity to just relax in our vocation, so to speak? Like with me as a Christian, you as a judge, we don't have the luxury, I would say, to just sit back. Well, I'm a judge. I made it. Let me chill. Like, we have more of an obligation to give back.
Absolutely. Like, it is our duty. It's our obligation, because we stand on the shoulders of so many giants, right?
Yep.
Who died, who bled, who marched, for us to be in a position that we will be ready to pounce on an opportunity when it's given to us. So yeah, like we have to, like, right. It's our duty.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree with you. Absolutely. So I agree with that philosophy.
Cool.
Absolutely.
So with that, how do you think our people view you in the position of a judge?
All right. Can you see me? Hold on 1 second. Did I lose you? Oh, you got me. Okay. Yeah. How do they view me? I want to believe and hope that they view me as a fair individual, as a woman of integrity, and someone who is willing to help, right? So I understand that no one is perfect. I'm not perfect. I understand we make mistakes. So the fact that I'm in a position where I might be able to help someone by sharing resources with them, or even requiring that they go to certain types of programs. Because I sit in that position where I have discretion to do those things. So I want to hope that they see me as a helper, as a fair person, and someone of integrity.
That's awesome. That's cool. I know sometimes, we feel like certain positions that we may house is not enough or selling out, and that's another thing that's hard to deal with, it being black,
How about that? Yeah, JT, you must have read my bio. No, my mind. This was never in my bio. But yeah, like even when I was in high school and I was in honors classes, academic classes, and I was called sellout like quite a few times, very often. But thankfully, right, I was raised in a household where my self-esteem was never low. So no matter what someone said about me, it was okay. And this was, I have my fellow friends living in the projects who are upset with me and calling me names because I also live in the projects, but I happen to be in honors classes, right? Yeah. So definitely I've been called that, and it's okay because I know who I am. Exactly. I know that, like I'm nowhere near a sellout, so I'm good with it. I'm okay.
Exactly. And who do you credit that to, that strength?
My parents. Oh my gosh, yeah, my parents. Like I saw them struggle. And it's not, for me, it's not cliche. This was a reality for me. Like I saw them struggle. I saw them with one income. My mother was a homemaker because she was disabled. And my father was the one who was going to work and had that one income. And they raised 4 children and putting us all through college. So, wow. And I would say they instilled faith in me. Like God came first in my household. And they definitely instilled confidence and that self-esteem, right? So it was like, God didn't make no junk. That's what we said back then, right? Yep. So you are somebody because God didn't make junk. So yeah, my parents, definitely.
And that's awesome. And it was key that they actually led by example instead of just the talk.
Oh, believe that. Oh, absolutely. Like I tell you, my mother, she was definitely a woman of faith, and a woman who worked, like her work was to glorify God. And I mean, like she was Meals on Wheels. She was down at the church doing the clothing drive, the feeding weekly. And she was just someone that always gave back. And then she had me in programs such as Girl Scouts, where, we had to earn badges to help the community and to give back. So that was something that definitely, like my mother, she demonstrated that daily.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. And how do you think we could take steps to get more young black people?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, you said interested in law?
Yep. How can we get them in that?
Okay, so that's the thing. I think it actually has to start with someone who has an interest in law, right? So if there is a young lady who she likes to do hair and make people look pretty, right? Then she probably is not going to go in the vein of law. But an individual who I would say likes to argue, who likes to win arguments, who likes to debate, and even if I would say if you get excited, maybe looking at a law show on TV, like if you see something on TV and you just get excited about that and you're like, oh gosh, I wish I could do that. So I think those are the types of people that should at least maybe consider or think about going into the vein of law. And absolutely someone who, because for me, this was for me, I went into law because I wanted to help the underdog. So when I was, and I got interested from watching TV shows. So that person back then was like Perry Mason, and he always, it was sort of like civil rights, and he was always working for the person who was wronged, right? The person who had been wrongly accused. So I thought that's all law was. Like, I thought there was only one type of law when I was growing up and watching it. But I knew the reason I wanted to go into it because I wanted to help the person who had been wronged. Yeah.
Wow.
So I would say if you have an interest, even if you have interest in helping others, this is a vein for you. Like this is a path that you can take. But definitely, I want you to like to argue.
That's right. That's cool. That's
Yeah,
cool.
definitely, definitely.
Yeah, and I think it's very important. I think one thing that's hard in society to face is like, where we have predominantly black areas.
Uh-huh.
A lot of the police force don't necessarily reflect that. How do
How
you
about that? How
uh,
about that? Yeah.
how do you
How
think we can
about that?
fix that? Because I think that's kind of like an issue too. Not necessarily the position that
Oh,
they
it is.
police officers,
It
but I think
is.
it's like misunderstanding, a lot of times.
Absolutely. And I would tell you that I have a very good friend who is in law enforcement, and she is in a position of hiring, but she's not the sole hirer. So her experience is that her fellow coworkers and those who are above her, like her superiors, they don't necessarily extend the same opportunities
Hmm.
to minorities. And it really has to start with changing mindsets, right? Changing
Exactly.
the mindsets of individuals to say, look, we're here, we're qualified, we're capable, and we're willing. So
Exactly.
I don't necessarily think it's a lack of candidates. I just think, again, I'm gonna go back to that opportunity, lack of opportunity. And let's not pretend that we all start on the same level playing field. We don't.
That's true.
We don't. So somehow we have to allow for that field to be leveled somehow. So
Hey,
yeah.
amen to that. I totally agree.
Yeah. So absolutely. Absolutely.
So, in your opinion, how do you think we can fix the black community as a whole moving forward? What are some measures we can take?
Oh, okay? So I'm going to ask you. Tell me what's wrong with it. Tell me what you see wrong with the Black community.
Like the lack of unity, lack of like self-awareness, and just being able to root for each other.
Right. Right. I think we have to. Those again who are in a position
Hmm.
have to continue to lead by example. We have to continue to try to pull in and reach out, right? Like we lift as we climb, each one teach one, each one reach one. I think it's a process. And such as you, JT, like you're awesome. Like you do so much work in the community, but you're only one person, right?
Yeah.
Like you're only one person. But I have seen you build a community of individuals who are like-minded as yourself.
Yeah.
So that's necessary. Actually, that was like the third point that President Obama just mentioned when he did the graduate together commencement on Saturday. And he mentioned like his third point. Well, first point was like to the seniors, don't be afraid. Second was don't be like, do what you think is right. And then the
Yeah.
third was build a community. So I think that building a community, and we have to let go of egos, right? Like
Right.
I would tell
Yeah.
you, I really experienced an uplifting. It made me feel so good when I had so many people who were genuinely cheering for me, right? Because we have some fake and phonies,
Yeah.
but there were people who were genuinely happy for me when I got my position.
Wow.
And that was awesome to see, especially women of color, right? Women of color who were happy for me. And we have to understand like what God has for you is for you. So there's no need to get mad at the next person because
Exactly.
that's not what God has for you, right?
True.
So it is okay to root. It is okay to cheer for what God has done for someone else. Because
That's
guess what? He did it for them. He could do it for you. So yeah, we have to let go of ego and just understand that we're in this together, right? We're in
true.
this together.
Exactly. We sure are.
We are. So it's definitely about building that community, and you are a great example of that. A great example of that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So thank you for all that you do.
Thanks.
Thank
Hopefully,
you
God,
for
we can keep it going.
all that you do. Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
Now,
Appreciate
what is this?
it.
This is a series that you're conducting.
Yep, yeah, it was supposed to be like live interviews that I was gonna go and catch people in their element, pretty much.
Oh, and then COVID happened.
Yeah, then COVID happened. Yep.
Right.
So somebody showed me how to do this. I just said, hey, I might as well go with it.
Yeah, because that's why everyone's doing this. Like, this is the platform now for all interviews.
Yep,
Yeah,
exactly.
this is the platform. So I'm glad, right? See, that didn't stop you.
Yep.
You kept going. Good for you. Good for you.
Miss Barnett, you know Karen Barnett from Richmond?
Absolutely. She's a
Yeah,
mentor of mine. Absolutely.
yeah,
Awesome woman.
yeah. She was the one that told me to don't stop and just keep it going and use this
I
platform.
know that's right. See, she is a very wise woman. So good. Good. Absolutely.
Yep.
Excellent.
Thanks, sis. Thanks for coming over, catching up with Coach. Hit me up anytime if you need me.
Coach, thank you for having me. And you do the same. I'm here for you, okay?
Yep. God
All
bless.
right. Thank you so much. God bless. See
All
ya.
right, anytime. Thanks.